Draft.
Draft starting soon.
Glad I didn't fall asleep.
Draft starting soon. Recording now. Live. We're all set. And T-Hole, you have the first pick, man. I can't believe you got that.
Beautiful.
Collusion.
Yeah.
It's kind of bullshit, actually.
I'm taking all red spoons.
All right, well we got you, Zach. We got Matt. I don't know. I mean, I know
I'm
he's
here.
Dude, I love Matt.
Matt, are you there? Are you there, brother?
I'm here, gentlemen.
All right, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well.
All right, we got Mayor. Mayor, you there, brother? Mayor is sort of here. I can see him, but I don't know what's going on. He's actually drafting right now. All right, so at least we know he's alive. We don't have to send a search party.
So, can you explain to me who all these people are?
They're writers, T-Hole. They're contributors.
Well, I'm Zach.
I know Zach very well, like my son.
I'm apparently 14 years old.
Yeah, that's what T-Hole thinks.
Yeah.
You're also a
I
Donald
heard
Trump
that.
supporter, which is what I think. So you're getting like the worst of both worlds.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, since when did I become a Trump supporter?
I don't know. I feel like you are
Maybe when you
like
became
secretly
racist.
deep down, right? T-Hole, doesn't he seem like a Trump voter to you?
Most racists are.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Zach is definitely part of the alt-right. Oh, someo's up.
Sorry, that's my other.
Shit, I'm not even following the draft. I should get my rankings.
Oh, it's
up
my
and
turn to
everything.
draft. Oh, I don't know what to do.
Are we still in the first round? We are. Man, I got the
Yeah.
last pick. This is so stupid. I hate getting the last pick. It takes like 10 years to get to me.
Not gonna do.
Alright, I feel like I should do some sort of recap. Like, let's see, T-Hole, you and Antonio Brown. I can't. Were you even thinking of anyone else? I doubt it. No one else.
I mean, it's just the thing to do.
Yeah, I know Malamoney. He's the one. I'm pretty sure he's Dylon. He's the Panthers. He always does that.
Oh, Malamoni's in here?
Yeah, I think it's Dylan, but I prefer Dylon just because I'm a Chappelle fan. So I don't know if he's actually. No, he's not in the audio portion, but. That's Malamoney. For all those who don't know, he usually does the Who Are They series. It's a fun little series where he kind of recaps the week.
Who are they?
Yeah, and he kind of takes like, what he does is he takes all the highest scores who are unowned or who are hardly owned, and then puts them together and shows you what team it could make.
Hey, can you mute that beeping thing like you can on ESPN in the corner? Is there like something you can mute that?
Yeah, it's on the bottom. There's like this black
Oh yeah,
bar.
I see it. Yeah, that's gotta go.
Zach, what would I do without you, my son?
My son.
There should be like an audio button on the bottom right in front of the
I found it.
the sidebar that like shows the picks and I'm sorry, not the picks, the order.
Can someone actually go to the Twitch and find out if people can actually hear us? Because we actually have some viewers, so I want to make sure. But I'm about to drop it, so.
Zach,
Yeah, I can.
do that for me, please.
Yeah, what's up? Say that one more time.
Can you just do it? Can you do what Jay said, please, son?
Oh.
Sweet child.
Yeah, I was going to. So, what's the link, Jay?
It's just go to the Razzball football website. That goes for everyone who's listening and watching. Go to the Razzball football website, football.razzball.com.
Oh, this is the
Oh
order
shit, I'm
one.
drafting actually. Oh,
Take your sweet time, Jay.
yeah, I don't know who to draft. Quite literally not an expert.
Oh, but you are.
Right.
You run this thing.
Man, I really don't want AP.
Fantasy Pros sponsored.
Both of y'all.
Are you sure about that?
Jay had
T-Hole with the
Jay
with the shout out in that article recently for Fantasy Pros on that email.
Did I? Was I shout outed by Fantasy Pros?
I think old T-Hole had a comment on
Yeah.
11 bold predictions.
He did. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, man.
Adrian
I said-
Peterson?
I said some
I'm
ridiculous.
going through my rankings. I feel like if I don't use my rankings, it's kind of do what
Teal,
I
the
do, but
greatest
not what
part
I
of
say, or vice versa, or whatever. So I can't really.
Teal, the greatest part is that you put some of like your vernacular and language in that snippet, and everyone else was super clean cut.
I was
Hey,
like
yeah, it worked.
talking about Tyrod.
Twitch
I was
works.
like, the Bills are
Yeah,
gonna make
you can hear
the
us.
Super Bowl.
It was perfect.
All right, well, I gotta get now that I'm not. Oh wait, am I drafting again? Holy shit! I forgot I was on the turn. My bad. My bad. Jen's already bitching. God damn it.
Is Jen on here?
Nah, she's fucking. Her yesterday was her birthday, and she's
Watching
fucking.
Golden Girls or something, dude?
I think
Come
she's hungover as fuck. So. Oh, she's still drunk. So I think it was a bender.
Happy birthday,
So,
Jen.
yeah.
She was
Here,
on
let me
one.
let her know. At least we're talking shit about her. I'll give her. She can watch as we. That way she can be at least involved in the conversation.
Great product placement, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk shit about people, I want them to hear me. Anyhow, I gotta get a list of people who's in here because I gotta. This is actually gonna be a video that people can watch too if they don't.
Wait, are we on video?
Yes, I see you, T-Hole. I see your face right now.
You're kidding.
No, just the draft room is.
I'm gonna say.
That'd be creepy as fuck, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't camera ready.
All right, I know this is like a late introduction, but we kind of got off to a rocky start. But so the teams are as follows. Let's see. The S2YB is your boy Zach here, the 4-year-old Donald Trump supporter. Or is it 14? I forgot which. Was he
went
born
from
in this decade or the
16
last decade? Yeah, 16.
to
all right.
14 to
Um,
4.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go but up. So you should just wait until we get to 0, and then you'll just start aging before our eyes, and you'll be like a senior citizen by tomorrow. Lance's team is called Lance's team. Did he change that or no? He didn't change it. So
He's
very
so
imaginative.
creative.
Super creative. Yeah. Matthew did the same thing. It's Matthew's team. Matt, you're here, right? I gave it.
I'm here, not Matthew. I don't know what that full name thing is.
I want to talk to Matt.
Then
That's
the wrong
me.
one.
Hello.
Yeah, I think that's
Wait.
Matthew. Matthew Bow.
Oh
not the
wait,
Matt
it's
app.
Matt Bowe, the new addition.
Yeah, you know that. You know that kid, right?
He transferred over from
Right.
our arch nemesis.
We got Mike Mayer here, but I think he's having mic issues. Is that true, Mike? All right, so he can hear us.
Teal, who's your nemesis?
I don't know. Fantasy friends with wait. So were you on Friends with Fantasy Benefits or the other one, or were you on the other show with whose show were you on? Whose podcast?
How many shows could you possibly be doing and not know the show?
So many. Count.
Oh my god, I saw your Dream League video, by the way. Keegan sent in that stuff. It comes out on Friday morning. I watched it. Dude, you need to sit down. You look way too intense when you're standing up. And just the angle of the laptop. Like, everyone who's listening to you now can check it out on Friday. It's gonna go up Friday, but man,
Dude,
you are...
I need you to do a background check on this Keegan guy. I know I sent him to you in the first place, but like,
Man...
I'm starting to get confused.
Why are you sending him to me and you not doing your own background check, man?
No, like I gave him Gray's email, and then he probably just dumped him on you, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, because he was like, hey, how do you like apply for a job at Razzball? And I was like,
Easy. You say, hey Jay, I want to write, and I go, okay. That's the application process.
You should take what we have in this group chat with everybody on this league and like just take pictures of it and post it on I mean, it is like, just the most disgusting, disturbing conversations I've ever seen.
I
Everyone's
mean,
bashing.
Jen, firing off.
Keegan just comes up with this idea, yet he's like nowhere to be found, and we're like, dude, are you gonna do this or should we just quit?
goddamn, Jen is
Killing
salty
it.
as fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Need some pretzels, Jen?
Fucking mouth on her.
Man, the only reason I'm doing this live now and recorded for posterity is, I mean, the last few seasons we've had Ralph and Smokey, and boy, they can get crude as fuck. So that's not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm all for, like, obviously I'm okay cursing and whatnot. I was raised on that, but man, they got X-rated. It got cringy real fast, honestly.
You can't get Ralph going. He's the main problem in the group chat. He's almost got like 3 people. Like he's got in like these for real.
Right. I have no idea how he's still married, honestly. Like, Well, I don't want to comment on someone's marriage because I know nothing about it. I just know him, which is enough for me to comment on it a little bit. So
He's just
yeah. Anyhow, I was introducing all the teams. So Mike Mayer, that's his team name. Everyone's just so inventive. I have such a creative staff here. Mike Honcho is Mike Honcho. Alex Lee is Alex Lee. T-Hole Beddick's team is T-Hole. At least Stan did something interesting where, you know, his handle on the side is Stan Sun. His name is Stan and his team name is Sun. So at least that kind of. Jen, of course, is the Forte Inch Ditka, which is, you know, kind of clever. I prefer the Bill Cosby's Deep Sleepers. That's my go-to name when I want to get. Then, of course, I covered Malamoney. He's the Dylan Panthers. I prefer Dylon, as stated previously. And then Matt Hayes. He's the guy who ranks our hitters over on the baseball website. He also does 2-star pitchers. His team name is the Matt At. I say that, I know he wants me to say Matt, but in my head it should be the M, right?
It's one word.
Right, but it should be the M, but it's like an at, so it's M at, right? That's how phonetically we can call it.
Yes.
Wait, it's my turn again? The fuck?
You already on the turn? All right.
We're moving it, man.
Dude, does anybody want to talk about the picks? I feel like I did this to analyze.
Sure,
picks
I can talk about the picks if
right,
you want me
Zach,
to.
yeah, you we'll put aside your
Pick it up, Zach.
Patriots fandom for a moment.
Okay.
And tell me something about the first round, man. I'm looking at the first round, and everything looks pretty normal, except for Gronk going 6. That's kind of a homer pick, but...
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, looking at the first round, pretty normal, especially if you're starting 3 wide receivers that, you know, the top 4 wideouts will be taken off the board quickly. I was a little bit shocked by the Rob Gronkowski pick, only just because even in normal leagues, I understand his production compared to the rest of the tight end position and how it's a really, really big drop-off, but I don't think you can build the best starting lineup possible if you take Gronk, and even in normal leagues where you don't start 3 wide receivers.
Wait, before you continue, let me notify Jen that you're talking shit about her team.
Again.
Zach, if you're gonna regurgitate my entire article, I'd like the credit.
Yeah.
That was your father speaking, apparently.
I wouldn't be surprised if
yeah.
this is a father-son duo. Boy, she is salty. Damn. Okay, apparently she wants you to eat a dick, Zach. I think you should keep on talking about Gronk. Actually, move on to Brady. Let's see how bad it gets.
Yeah, I will. Wait. It's Monday. He probably already is. What?
I don't even know. Do you eat dicks based on the day of the week? I don't even understand. Are we allowed to use this language around you? I should clear that up first. Are you okay with that?
It's okay.
Is it okay? All right, Dad approved it. Father T-hole. That sounds dirty. I put those 2 words together. Anyhow, actually, you know what, Zach? Tell me about Elliott, because we actually talk about him a lot on the podcast, and you have a lot to say about Elliott. How do you feel about him going 7th to Stan here?
It's funny. I've not competed. Oh wait, hold on. It is my turn to pick real quick. All right, so
T-hole.
I already have Brandon.
Are you okay
Cooks.
with Elliott? Are you okay with Elliott there while Zach picks?
Yeah,
I am.
I just took him in my other league at number 8, so I can't be mad at him at number 7.
Maybe I should have taken him. Wait, was he even available? No, he wasn't available at my spot. This is what I hate about picking last in the draft.
All good.
Dude, what's your team looking like? I don't even...
Have Gurley and Le'Veon.
Jesus Christ, how did you get those fuckers?
Exactly.
You let him get Le'Veon. What is going on here?
Dude, I was going to take Le'Veon, but I couldn't because I would have had to wait 30
All right,
picks.
what's
I mean,
your...
I might have you guys about to take
All right,
him.
obviously you're not
Man.
gonna get him for the first 3 weeks. What's your plan here? Are you gonna go running back? Well, I guess you'd be giving away trade secrets. That's probably not the best idea.
There's
Actually,
so
you're
many
picking
options you
soon,
can take,
so
man.
yeah. At least tell
For
me what you're
me,
thinking. Yeah. What are you thinking? Like, you can give me a half-ass answer if you don't want to give.
No, I don't care. I'll give you all the secrets and still win. Is that good enough? I personally have Gurley in the top 5 in any kind of format. So the fact that he fell to 8 was a shock to me.
Wait, can you guys hear Matt?
Who's talking?
He's talking.
That's me.
I'm sorry.
Maybe.
I cannot hear.
You just don't like me, Zach. It's fine.
Zach,
It's fine.
Yeah.
enough out of you. Stop
Son.
Dan when he's speaking.
Yeah, I think it's Mayor who's having mic issues.
Yeah, I can hear T-Hole,
fine.
I can hear
Matt.
UJ, and then there's myself.
Oh, you can't hear? You can't hear at? I have to
No,
censor
I
it now.
can't hear Matt.
You can't hear him?
I would
Put a
not
pause.
interrupt Matt
you-
if
you
I
have him
could hear
muted?
him.
Well, thanks a lot, Zach, because you did.
No, it's because, yeah, like I said before, I can hear you and T-Hole.
I suggest reloading the software maybe, like just,
I will do that.
and then we'll let Matt finish what he was. You already drafted, man. Who'd you draft?
Me? Matt?
Who'd you get?
So I took Gurley and then I took Bell coming back. And if Bell isn't missing any games, and I have him as a number 1 running back. So in my board for come playoff time, I have the top 2 running backs. And then coming back in the third, I know there's 3 wide receivers, but Demarius is going to get however many targets they want to give to him, even, no matter who's throwing the ball. So I feel like in the Yahoo setup, I use ESPN a little more than Yahoo, but in the Yahoo setup, there's some wide receivers lower down the list that still have high floors, at least as wide receiver 2s, if not number 1. But even in Denver, I don't know that anybody can play worse than Peyton Manning did last year, and he still had however many, 1,300 yards.
Probably Sean Hill, but that's about it. Yeah.
How dare you? How? Yeah, he was great as a backup 5 years ago. But he's not, well, is he even starting now? No, because they went and traded. Now they got
Yeah.
Bradford.
Well, that just means he's starting in week 4 when Bradford gets injured. So
Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
see what we got. We got Moncrief. That's a little early, right? Are we feeling the Moncrief love here in the as the 33rd overall?
No. Not when, no.
Zach, are you back?
I am. I didn't
Did
want to
you-
interrupt Matt because I can hear him now.
Oh, you can hear him. Okay, fantastic.
Appreciate that.
All right.
What's up, Matt?
Know when you want me to drop
What up, man?
bombs, I'm ready.
Yeah, Teal, you can do. This is like free reign. You guys can do whatever you want. I actually
Go to
hate
town,
directing.
sir.
I just want to welcome Matt Bowe, and then Stan's son is in here. He's one of my favorite people also, and I'm just excited that they're both here today. And Zach, who I've groomed to kind of take my place one day in obviously a very, very long time because he's nowhere near ready. But
Do you mean like physical grooming? Like you cut
Yeah.
and do his hair? You know, you suggest hair
That's
products and you shape his hair. And
Zach, do you have
Tell
the
him what to
tongue
learn.
that T-Hole does, though?
Do I have the what?
I heard
Exactly.
tongue.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Now we're getting to the Ralph zone. We should move away from the Ralph zone immediately.
I just want to let you guys know I am getting lit up in this group in the Smack Talk board by Forte and Ditka.
Wait. Are we? Yeah, you guys can do that. What do we honestly think about this Moncrief and Doug Martin? This feels a little early. Alex Lee goes Doug Martin, and who was it? Lance went Moncrief. I mean, they got to be trying to snipe people, I think. Right?
I think Doug Martin's a great pick in this
Yahoo
play.
rankings, bro.
Like
These
that?
Yahoo
Okay.
rankings are throwing me off. Like I'm like, wait, this isn't right.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like every year, I write Razzball versus others people's rankings, and I usually pick ESPN and Yahoo.
Great article.
Right, and this is the first year I actually didn't do it because when I analyzed my rankings compared to theirs, it was just so. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it was so off. I'd be kind of just. Every blurb I'd write on the ranking would be like, I don't understand why they're ranking this there. And it was
Yeah.
really egregious. Like, it's worse than it's ever been this year. I don't understand.
Have you read one of those first Razzball posts like of all time where they like interviewed Matthew Berry or whatever? It's like the most awkward, like weird thing.
Is it? No, I really don't pay attention to ESPN.
Yeah, Jay loves Matthew Berry, apparently.
Matthew Berry doesn't have his rankings on Fantasy Pros. That's questionable.
Yeah, he took him off 2 years ago. When I think he finished like 87th or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, I think Carabel still does it, and so does Tristan.
I trust Carabelle because he's obviously like a total geek, and I'm like, this guy must know what he's
And
saying.
you just say that because he's wearing glasses. He's pretty. I mean, I don't want to talk shit about my peers. I don't even know him. I met Tristan at spring training a couple years ago. He's a really sweetheart of a guy. He's really nice. I liked meeting him.
Didn't Gray and JB talk about that story on the podcast one time?
Yeah, JB and him. Yeah, I don't think JB was there, but it was JFO, me, Gray, and
And
who
JFO
else
did
was
something
there?
silly.
Oh, I was just
Yeah,
reading
well,
about that
JFO.
from Stacy Stern. She was like, he was obnoxious as fuck.
He's actually a teddy bear, like in person. He's very soft spoken and
Right.
want to hug the guy, but he's a huge guy. He's like, I mean, not like, big, but he's just like, he's tall and imposing and wide. So he's like a biker dude,
Like those beards and tattoos.
right? And so like if I saw him on the street, I'm like, whoa, I can't fuck with this guy.
So he has
But-
girth.
Yeah, I mean,
Serious girth.
yeah, I mean not in a negative connotation, but he's just a big dude, and but like once you like start talking to him, you just want to hug him. So, but yeah, anyhow, their rankings. I'm not gonna talk shit about them, but I mean people can go look at their rankings on Fantasy Pros. They don't really compare to at least our rankings. That's all I'll say. And Yahoos are just kind of. They're strange this year. I don't
Yahoo,
understand.
Just the pre-rankings they have on this board here. I'm just like, dude, where are my? It's just I need to do the pre-ranks. I mean,
And the thing is, it kind of sucks too because even though if you have your own list, a lot of people draft with what's in front of them because
It's awful.
right. It's easy, so you're kind of still set to what they think. So if you see Doug Baldwin, like I'm looking at him right now, if you think you could get him in another round, you can't because everyone's staring at his name right in front of your face. You know where maybe he shouldn't be. I don't know. So that's my hot take, I guess, on Yahoo rankings.
I just had a auction draft on ESPN with keepers, and the keepers affect the like pre-draft value on the applet, and it had in $100 budget had Antonio Brown. His pre-draft value was 44 because of all the keepers. I'm just like, there's no way that you can't get around it. It's awful.
All right, what do you guys can critique me. I don't hear anybody talking shit about my team. What do you guys think about the Rawls Decker picks? You guys can say whatever you want, but only nice things. Or
I
I'm
took
getting ready.
Rawls in that Dream League thing I did the other day. He took him so late. It was on ESPN. He's dropped so far in there. It's like,
Yep.
I took him I think in like round 8 or 9.
I like Rawls. I mean, but what can I do? He's like sitting there right in front of, like, it's the whole, like I just said, he's like sitting there, and I'm just like, well, I'm not picking for another 24 hours.
It was only a 10-team league, but I mean, like a month and a half ago or whatever, he was like listed as a first-round pick, and I'm just like, okay, he's ready to go. What's the problem here?
Yeah, I don't.
I love the Decker pick. He's like the sneakiest, best receiver out there. No one would ever look at the stats and say, "Oh yeah, that dude had 85 plus catches last year."
I don't draft white people except in PPR
or your kicker.
Oh, there's like a smaller pool to choose from, or a bigger pool to choose from.
Just wait till Christian McCaffrey comes out.
But yeah, you're right. On Decker, I love him PPR. He's like sneaky good. Yeah, and another thing I'm noticing is Yahoo's quarterback rankings are.
Yeah,
I think in every
crazy
single
high.
RCL I've drafted in, including this one, there's always like 10 quarterbacks just hanging out and clogging it up.
Ooh, wait, it's my turn in the draft.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the way that the draft is falling for me is based upon the rankings in the preset of Yahoo.
Yeah, it's just tragic.
All right. Let's see. We got I think that's Matt Bowe. I'm trying to mix up. No, that's Matt. You picked the first quarterback at Cam Newton. How
I
you
did.
feeling about him this season? You thinking he does another repeat? Are you concerned at all? In past years, he's either had injury issues or ineffectiveness here and there. I like him, but I mean, obviously you like him, but what are you expecting?
Oh, this is the absolute earliest that I would take a quarterback. I mentioned that in the mock draft we did on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times he's getting taken late 20s, early 30s, and I wouldn't touch that. But the reason why I took him here is because looking down on the list for how I want to fill out the rest of my team, there are a lot of other options still that I think will be there. T-hole with the F-bomb.
Yeah, I just heard a random
That was
in
perfect.
the back.
But I think a lot of the players that I need for my roster will still be there when it comes back to me again at 56. But I doubt that Cam would. His floor, in my opinion, is top 5 quarterback. That's what he always finishes. But he has the easiest path to being the number one. You get Kelvin Benjamin back. Devin Funchess is emerging. Ted Ginn somehow catches 10 touchdowns. Yeah, it's really, really safe. And at 41, I'll take that.
Me personally, I agree with Matt in that his floor is top 5 QB, which is why I don't think he should have been taken as high as he should have. Or in another sense, how can I put this? I think in other drafts apart from this one, he's been taken way too early, and I think because yes, his floor is top 5, but that's another reason to wait a little bit and to get Drew Brees or Andrew Luck, a couple rounds later, and they have the
Yep.
same floor of being a top 5 QB. But I totally get that if you don't think he's going to be there on the bounce back, then you got to take with the players you like.
Yeah, but to have Breeze at pre-ranked 46 and Andrew Luck at pre-ranked 43 is just silly.
Yeah.
All right, so we actually had Kelvin Benjamin drafted.
All right, T-Hole.
Just
Sorry.
Did he say something? I can barely hear him. What did he say?
No, the picks that he just made at number 49 with the early snipe. I
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I like Langford. The Gordon one's definitely an early side, but yeah, actually, I really wanted to ask you guys about Kelvin Benjamin. There's a lot of different places I've seen him draft. I can't really say. This seems kind of in the spot. I would probably start thinking about taking him, but there's questions about the fact that he's gained a little weight. He's going to kind of be eased back in the starting lineup. How do you guys feel about that one?
Apart from him gaining weight, I also don't like how impressive Devin Funchess has looked. And I think easily. So, yeah, so I get that Kelvin Benjamin, a very impressive rookie year, and that was during a year where the team as a whole finished 7-9 or 6-9-1, and now he's coming back to a much improved team, and I get that. However, with Greg Olson still producing like he has been, I don't think they're going to take any work away from Jonathan Stewart. Um, Cam is always, he can always scramble and he can always use his legs to, for the team and stuff like that. And with Devin Funchess looking as good as he has been in the preseason and in training camp reports, I don't think it's setting up for Benjamin to have a decent year.
All right. Golden Tate. Stan picked him up. Stan's son. How do you guys feel about that pick? I kind of feel like he's like a rich man's Jordan Matthews, kind of. I guess. There's kind of an
I don't
interesting
think he's.
description.
I don't think he's the number one wide receiver there.
You think
Yeah, Marvin Jones
plays
is the number one, right?
Yeah, like Marvin Jones shouldn't be, but he has been, and he has been playing better than Tate has been.
It's
You're right
preseason.
though.
Yeah, T-Hole loves the
Yeah,
Tate.
Tate looks better with another number one. So I guess
So does
it's kind of hard to gauge where
Was
his
that T-Hole?
production this year.
Marvin Jones. They've both always been kind of a number 2 kind of guy. So I think they're both going to end up with pretty similar numbers. To tell you the truth, I think they both have a nice shot at 1,000 yards. I think they're both
Yeah.
pretty good. Although the thing about Marvin Jones, people seem to be forgetting, he's a tad injury prone. He was healthy last year.
Yep.
He blew up the year before that in limited time, and then last year he played, I think, most all the games, and he didn't quite go off like I thought he would.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, we got.
I have to say though,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, if there's any offense to be in this year, it's Jim Bob Cooter's offense in Detroit. I think personally, that offense might be one of the best in the NFL.
You just wanted to say Cooter.
Yeah, I did. You called me out on that one. Could you imagine
Hmm.
if I married him, I would be Mrs. Jim Bob Cooter. I'd be Mrs. Cooter.
It's definitely a life
Interesting
goal
point.
that you can go with
Yeah.
if you'd like. I mean,
Trump
I'll hold
supporter
it
that
against you.
believes in gay marriage. I like.
Um. All right. Let's see what's been going on. Oh, DeMarco Murray. I kind of like that pick.
Yeah, that's late. He looks
It is
good.
right. How you guys feeling about him on
Yeah,
the
I
Titans?
don't.
I kind of like him on the Titans. I think I
Yeah,
think the value that
it's
you can
gonna
get
be a
from him is.
RB friendly offense.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, what's the earliest you guys seen Gordon go this drafts? Have you seen him go
This
earlier than
right
this?
here.
Yeah, I think
No,
this is it.
49 is the earliest. He just went in an auction for in a 100. So in a standard 200, he would have gone for 10, but in a 100, he went for 5. Um, he's just risky, but it's a huge, huge ceiling. If he comes back week 5 and gains quick rapport with RG3, who has for all his head case and whatever happened with his knee, his arm isn't messed up, and he can still sling the ball down the field. So if Gordon catches even 60 balls the last, that's a huge year still for the amount of yards and touchdowns he can get. But we haven't really seen him play except for what, a 4-game stretch 2 years ago since 2013.
I wonder how much Chargers defense improves this year, or if they stay the same as last year. Because if they stay the same as last year, it's not looking good for his production, especially if Rivers has to throw the ball 50 plus times a game because their defense can't stop a nosebleed. But if their defense improves, which is it can certainly happen, then I think Gordon benefits from it. But
I'm
until I'd
really
like to see how
confused.
their defense works.
Were you talking Josh or Melvin?
Yeah, I think we're
Melvin
talking
Gordon.
Josh. If you're talking Melvin, we can talk about that
Oh,
too.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you were talking about. Oh my God, my fault.
I was like,
Oh, it's
he
fine.
got
We can
traded?
we can talk about either. I would like to see Josh Gordon on the Chargers. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, I bet you
Yeah,
would, Jay.
actually, I opened up a window to look up the Chargers defense, but I realized I'm picking soon, so I don't have time to look it up. But I do like Bosa finally arriving. I think their defense can't be as bad as last season. Last season was pretty porous. The year before that, I think, was even worse. Actually, someone talk because I'm picking.
Can I offer my analysis on Josh Gordon then?
Bring it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to ask. You have to. I think you have to ask T
All
Hole. I
right,
think he's the one in charge
all
of
right.
that.
T-Hole,
Sure,
T-Hole.
okay.
May I speak?
Father, may I?
Took
Awesome.
your Adderall today, didn't you? You're a chatterbox.
Um. Yeah. So for Josh Gordon, like I've said before on the first podcast of the season, I think it helps him out a lot that he's able to attend meetings, practice with the team, so on and so forth during his 4-game suspension. Unlike Tom Brady, who won't be able to contact his team in any way.
Because he's
But
a cheating rat.
yeah, exactly. So, oh, Ryan Matthews, great pick, and Marvin Jones, great pick.
Man,
So yeah. Anyways,
I wasn't. You're in my good graces, man. You don't have to. It's okay, man.
um, yeah. So I get it that a lot of people are scared about RG3, but they actually have a really nice schedule for the first couple of weeks, and um, I think they play Cleveland the first week, and so that's a nice sleeper if you're looking at RG3. But I don't think a quarterback dictates how well a receiver does in fantasy, definitely in real life, but in terms of fantasy production, um, we've seen it with Mike Evans before Jameis got here, and he was catching balls thrown by Mike Glennon. We saw it with DeAndre Hopkins. He had to rotate between Brian Hoyer and Ryan Mallett. Um, Even Delaney Walker at a couple times in his career has dealt with Mettenberger, Jake Locker, Charlie Whitehurst, and he has been still consistent over the course of a couple years. So I don't think Josh Gordon is, hurt in any way by RG3, especially because deep down there somewhere is the rookie that led Washington to an NFC playoff berth.
All right, T-Hole, we're supposed to have you here to take all the dead time away, man. What's going on over there? I'm answering questions at the moment. T-Hole isn't even around, is he?
What are some of the questions coming in that you're walking through?
Okay, Arian Foster. Let's let's well, see, that's the thing. One of our chat people who's in the chat right now, Fakery237. He's not convinced on Rawls, T-Hole. I think you gotta set him straight. What you got for him? Talking shit about your boy Rawls. We got a fan in the chat talking about it.
Yeah, well, you know what they say about fanboys is that they don't have a clue what they're talking about, especially if
Wait,
they
aren't
don't
you a fan of the Seahawks? I don't. Are you talking shit on yourself?
No. No. But the problem is, Rawls is the starter. He is the guy. He's going to go off, whoever it is. Just because Christina finally had a decent preseason, nobody cares. Like, it's cool that he finally learned how to switch the ball to his left-hand side when he runs to the left, because it's really, literally the first time he's ever been able to switch hands with the ball in his career, which is mind-blowing for a running back. So Michael is still going to be firmly on the bench. I'd say he gets about 5 carries. Rawls is going to get 15 minimum right out the gate. It's a steal where you got him, period.
All right.
Period.
What do you guys think about Arian Foster this season? I like him. I actually like him. I like pairing him in leagues where I get Le'Veon Bell. I try to get Arian Foster just because I feel like it's a great fit. Because if he doesn't work out for 3 weeks, you got a stud coming back. If he does, then you got a nice trade ship. Obviously he's old, but the camp reports seem strong. He seemed all right in the preseason. What do you guys think about Foster?
I want to stay away from him unless if I'm forced to take him if he's at a premium value.
Do you think this is premium value, the 64th pick?
I'm trying to. Oh, so that would be the 6th round in a 12 team.
I mean, he just got drafted right now, and we're in the 6th round. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to look at available running backs now. I would take Melvin Gordon over him. I'd take Matt Jones. I'd take Rashad. Okay, so I guess the answer is no. Just
Okay.
looking at the running backs here now, I would have a lot of them over Arian Foster, and it's because I think that offense is a headache. I think it's going to be more pass-oriented under Adam Gase than it has been. Aside from a little bit of production with Jeremy Langford last year, haven't seen the greatest running backs play under Gase, and maybe that's just because we haven't seen, premium talent that rivals what Arian Foster has done in the past. But for Foster, when you say he's had an all right preseason, he's done all right, and I would like to hear from him that he has looked like the old Arian Foster of late. He's battled injuries throughout his entire career. Um, he- I can't look at the situation that he's in and say that Jay Ajayi is just gonna go away now that because Foster is there. They could have the draft but instead they waited. They waited to hear. They wanted to. Sorry. They waited and they could have upgraded in the draft, but they stuck with Ajayi. They could have kept Lamar Miller. They could have gone after C.J. Anderson over the offseason. Whatever they see in Jay Ajayi, they're obviously convinced that he will play a role. It doesn't have to be a big role. However, though, I would feel a little bit better if Ajayi was out of the pick.
All right, and that was Roto Lance who picked up Arian Foster. We got T-Hole going with my boy Melvin Gordon, everyone's favorite pick to rebound. My question is, what if he doesn't?
Yeah, I don't know that he does.
I did have this interesting stat.
But he looks great. He looks great.
Yeah, I mean, I had this interesting stat, I think, last season where he got the most yards after first contact or something. I'm not sure if that's correct. It's been such a long time, but it was a statistic that explained that it was just the offensive line failing him. But I'll be honest, he just watching, since I'm the local Chargers fan, just watching him, he didn't have much burst. His vision seemed, I don't know, his vision didn't seem so good. How much of that is the offensive line? I can't tell you because I'm not an actual head coach, believe it or not, in the football league. But it's definitely a risk. I would say, what are we in now, in the 7th round? Yeah, I mean, is this a spot to get him if you want to take that risk?
I think it's a
Probably.
good value.
Yeah, if this is where you're going to find, like I personally wouldn't take Arian at 64. I think there's way too many question marks to take him there. But if you're going to be able to find, especially if you're going to be able to find someone like Gordon 8 picks later, if you get an RB2 in the 7th round, that's great value. My question to you, Jay, as the resident Chargers fan,
Yeah.
2 picks after Gordon came Woodhead in a half-point PPR. Would you rather have Woodhead this year or Gordon?
Probably Woodhead. I'm gonna have to cheat and check my rankings just to make sure.
In a half-point PPR, he finished number 3 last year.
In a full.
Oh, I
But
don't.
yeah,
point,
I get
sorry.
what you're saying though.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I have Woodhead like 5 spots up. I would generally just pick Woodhead just because in any PPR format he's pretty solid. He's like what Shane Vereen used to be in his prime. So
So you're saying I made the wrong pick, is what you're saying?
I'm just answering a question, man. I think that's between you and Matt.
No, I think you got a potential top 20 running back in the 7th, which is, again, great value. But 2 picks later when Woodhead goes, they're kind of this 2-man.
Not only did I get one in the 7th, but I got one in the 6th also.
Yeah, and half PPR
I
I
don't
have
think
Woodhead
should fall.
I have him 23rd as RB 23. So
Yeah. Good flex play minimum.
I think though that Gordon does have the ceiling here though, just because he
Yes.
would be the primary back. But you know how much Rivers loves Woodhead. It's pretty much his safety valve. If he can't find Gates, he's finding Woodhead at some point. So he will get touches. Oh, look at that. Sterling Shepard goes. A name that's been talked about a lot.
And Jen gets salty again. There you go.
I think her salt state isn't going to change at all.
She needs some pretzels. Put it on it.
Coffee. No, coffee would probably go worse, actually. All right, let's see. I'm looking at my team now. We're getting to a point where you'll see some quarterbacks get picked up, some tight ends. Hopefully no kickers and defenses. This is the Razzball. I wouldn't call it an expert league. We're all writers. I don't like calling anybody experts because we didn't really go to college for this and get a certification or anything. But I rarely
If
call
only
myself
we
an
could
expert.
have,
Yeah. But I would appreciate it if people didn't get defenses. What was that, T-Hole?
I said I've been to 5 universities. Speak for yourself.
That's impressive.
Man, that boy
I'm not even angry.
Rivers is still around. Oh, I think I just must. Oh, there it goes, man. Laggy.
Do it.
Savage. Oh. Who's Alex Lee?
There's some options left here. All of them kind of meh.
Can somebody tell me who Alex?
Yeah, I looked at the available.
Oh, Alex is one of our new
and I was like,
writers. He's going to be handling our deep leagues this year.
Because he just asked who I was, and I just got in a very heated argument with some other Razzball writer on baseball who asked who I was, who took it offensively. So Alex Lee.
All right, I'm going to grab Funchess just because Zach talked him a big game.
Hey.
We'll go Funchess.
That's what I wanted you to do.
Yeah, I mean, I took him a little early, but man, I really want to take Diggs too, but I don't know. I don't like the situation too much.
He's underrated.
Don't say him out
I know
loud.
he's underrated. I'm gonna go with it, but I'm not a believer in Sam Bradford. I'm just not.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, but you read my article. That's why, isn't it?
I completely forgot and then totally remembered again that Sam Bradford and Adrian Peterson went to college together at Oklahoma.
They were there at the same time, were they?
Same fraternity.
I'm not
Kyle
sure about
Booker,
that.
Alpha, Delta.
Alex, when you address me as Lord.
All right. And the thing is, I think I should bring up, like, when you're on the turn and stuff, you kind of have to proactively look at what's going to happen the next,
Yep.
22 picks or so, just because it takes such a long time to get back around to you. So I think you'll see the most strange picks coming out of people who are on the turns. Not to justify the Funches pick. I'm fine with whatever flack or whatever positive vibes I get from that. But I think it's part of the draft strategy when you're on those turns. And are you going to war, T-hole, with this dude? What is
No,
going
he
on?
was actually talking about the Twitter argument he got it, and that's why it's funny. He's like, he was just referencing the bizarre Twitter exchange.
Oh, did you have a bizarre Twitter exchange? You have so many.
Yeah, I did.
What was it about?
With some fuckstick from the baseball site. And then Sky chimed in because he hired him or whatever, and I fucking went off on Sky, and I was like, I'm done.
It's easy to go off on Sky because he always has a comment for everything. It's like,
Yeah, because he was trying to. I mean, he was allowing this new guy, whoever he is, who does like DFS or something, to like just totally bash me and say how dog shit writer, blah blah blah, just going off how absolute trash.
How's that possible? You haven't even written anything lately. Like, you haven't written anything for like 2 weeks.
And then Sky was like basically doing his usual under the radar insults, and I was like, I'm not in the mood, guy.
It's funny. I actually, true story. I think it was T-Hole, JFO, and Sky like got to a huge argument on the Razzball forums, and I had to delete all of them because I was just so triggered by it. It was amazing. I'd never seen anything by it. I was just like,
damn it.
I woke up and I read this whole entire chat tree and I was like, oh, fucking A. And I talked to Gray. I'm like, Gray, I'm deleting everything because I just don't want to read it anymore. And I'm staring at my screen. And so, you guys take stuff way too seriously sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I just got back from out of the country. I was having a long day, and this guy was.
How is he critiquing your writing? I'm being serious. I wasn't even making fun of you. You haven't even written anything in a while. What post was he talking about?
I think he just like looked up some old stuff.
Oh, then maybe he's just like a secret fan. He's like the dude from Seven, man. He's like a secret admirer of you, and he cuts people's heads off and stuff.
I read his thing, and it was just like the most cookie cutter, boring ass shit I ever read in my life. And I was like, cool, dude. Like, some people have a sense of humor, some don't. Like, obviously you don't.
All right.
Don't like to read my shit. Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate the fact that there are no names said, so we'll keep that as it is.
Was it memorable enough for me to know his name?
Stan
was
with
pot shot. All right, back to the draft. We have Kevin White. That's an interesting name. What's up?
I'm on the clock now, but all right, I'm gonna take the.
Like
I have to head out.
All right, sounds good, Zach. Thanks for joining us, man.
Boo.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know what Jen. Are you still going to be in the chat box? Or are you leaving for good?
No, I have to leave for good.
All right, I feel like Jen's going to fall asleep now that she doesn't have a chat partner.
I wouldn't call it partner as much as punching box, or punching bag.
All right, well, take care, Zach. Thanks for joining us.
Hold on. Yeah, no problem. I'll see you guys Wednesday for the podcast.
All right, here's a good question, Matt. Yeah, see you. Wait, when? That's Wednesday, right? Yeah, that's Wednesday. I'm the one who sets that up. All right. Matt, you mentioned somebody sniped D'Angelo Williams. Who was that? Who sniped it? Lance sniped him.
Yeah.
What do you see his value at when Bell returns? Do you think he'll still be a part of that offense, or are you just banking on that 3-game stretch?
No, for me, in any league that I'm getting Le'Veon, around the 8th, 9th, 10th round is when I'm trying to see if I can steal D'Angelo, because there's a lot of strategy, I think, in taking D'Angelo, even if you don't have Bell, for that first 3 games, because then it frees you up to where 2 weeks later, bye weeks start kicking in. If Le'Veon is playing really well, it doesn't look like D'Angelo's getting any touches, you have a free drop to where you can go get a hot name. I like having the ability to drop somebody and not feel like someone's going to automatically pick him up, or if I can't trade him. D'Angelo gives you that out 3 weeks in. while also giving you, potential RB1 value for 3 weeks.
I like where
we
you're
got.
at.
What was that, Teal?
Oh, I just said I like where his head's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do too. I like that.
So I had him teed up and I was about to take him, and then had to kind of switch it up when that happened. I was really surprised. I took your Charger, Travis Benjamin, Jay. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then also DeAndre Washington going at 90. That feels like a bigger reach than maybe anybody else so far.
Yeah, people are way too hyped on that dude. I'm confused. Really.
Yeah, I like him, but I mean, let's not. Latavius Murray still ran for 1,000 yards and was still a top 10, top 12 option. He's no slouch.
The Latavius hate just disgusts me. I
I don't understand that either. I
don't
have him
either.
ranked higher than the consensus, I believe, as well. Let me double check. I'm doing that. Yeah, I do like Benjamin. Just to answer your question, I like him just because Rivers seems to have utilize weapons like that who can kind of separate, who can be a deep threat, but also can do a lot of, I guess, Eddie Royal things like what Eddie Royal used to do. Just kind of a speedy guy who can find areas where Rivers can throw it to that the corners can't catch up to, and get a lot of yards after the catch. I think that's where we get a lot of his value because. I mean, I could talk about Rivers all day, but I think he can utilize receivers.
There goes Brady at 95. I really like
go to
Malin
Jen?
Money's team.
Picked him up. Oh,
Malin Money.
it didn't go to Jen. Oh shit.
Malin Money's got a strong squad, and I know that Jen missed out. I'm sure Zach's gonna feel bad that one's gone too. But
yeah, he's our other Patriots fan. I don't know how we got so many Patriots fan staff, but
no, thank you. T-Hole, where I know that you are a Seattle fan. Do you live up there?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's why T-Hole and I get along because I lived up there for a while too, so I think we have a lot of the same attitudes on lots of things. Ooh, here we go.
You go.
T-Hole,
okay.
Let's talk about this. Tyrod Taylor, your boy. You didn't even
He's
get him,
so sleepy. Man. He's so sleepy.
You there, T-Hole?
I am.
Your boy Tyrod Taylor is not there anymore.
Yeah,
He took.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't because these icons look all the same. It looked like Matthew Bowe's icon.
Yeah, it does.
They're hard to follow. You know what? Next season, I'm gonna tell everyone to pick a unique icon.
I'll drop a picture in there. I'll put Dion's pretty face.
How you feel about that one, Matt? You think that's early, late, right on time? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think it's early. I would have guys like Manning. I guess really Manning might be the only one. I would have Manning over Tyrod, but once you get past Manning, Rivers, Bortles, Cousins, Stafford, Tyrod, they're all lumped together. It's kind of take your pick.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them, to be honest.
Nope.
There's a lot of, I guess, what would you call it, like mid-tier value at the quarterback position this season. It feels like the last couple seasons actually have been pretty good with quarterbacks in this area. Like you don't have to spend top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, low end QB1. I mean, I still like that I took Cam at 41 for where I got him, but at the same time, the ceiling of what Tyrod could get to is probably right at Cam's floor. And T-Hole just got him 56 picks later.
Right.
I love Tyrod. I think he's, as I said, he's so sleepy. He's a huge sleeper.
Yeah, I mean, T-Hole was on that bandwagon since last season too, so he started that bandwagon, I think. He's remember that T-Hole when we came up with the what was it? The Rodfather. We came up with that. That's what we called him last season. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Michael Thomas. I picked Sterling Shepard to be my sleeper, but it was between him and Michael Thomas. I like Michael Thomas a lot. I say this. I really should have my rankings in front of me so I can kind of quote where I have him ranked. But yeah, I have.
We took in Matthew.
Yeah, Matt Bowe. I think that's Matt Bowe. I gotta stop
Yeah.
looking at the icons and look at the names. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Matt Bowe. And I have him. Yeah, I have him 8 over my peers according to these. Ranked him 8 higher.
In Fantasy Pros?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me
I have
pull
him
mine up.
as wide receiver 47. I like him. I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. I think he's pretty good value here. What are you thinking here, Matt?
I'm trying to think. I'm in fantasy. I have the expert rankings of Fantasy Pros, but I don't know where I put him. In terms of going against, who did you say? Sterling Shepard?
I mean, I was
I
thinking about both picking him. I mean, I kind of hate the term sleeper, but in our case today
Sure.
when we did the Razzball staff picks, anyone can check them out on the Razzball website. You kind of have to pick guys where you think they're just gonna kind of break out. I think I should have renamed it just breakout stars. You know, like
Oh,
guys who you think will. Did something happen? Did you want Snead? Is that what's going
yeah,
on?
man. I was aiming at him for my wide receiver 4
Dan
and
Sun picked out Snead. Yeah,
then
tell me
got
about
him.
Snead. Yeah.
So for Snead, all right, and it plays in with the Thomas thing. I personally would rather have Sterling Shepard than Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that Snead in there is a clear number 2. I mean, so in a half point PPR, at almost 150 points last year, had 900 and almost 1,000 yards, only had 3 scores. So if he turns that around and makes it 6 scores or maybe even 7 scores, there's a possibility of Snead really bumping up. And yes, Breeze is going to throw it everywhere, but Ingram's going to get catches. Fleener's now going to get catches. You still have Cooks. I like Snead better than Thomas, and I would take Shepard over Thomas as well. But there's great upside with him. I mean, there's potential. I mean, Dynasty, he's a great option. I'd still take Shepard over him, but you're not going to go wrong necessarily taking either of them.
Yeah, let's see. We got Sims going. I do like Sims here. I think he's kind of underrated. I've always seen him kind of go low end drafts around this area, but I feel like he'll provide more value. T Hole, you there? He's always technically AFK. I feel like.
I feel like I'm taking this thunder, man. I don't want to.
Yeah. Nah, you ain't taking anybody's thunder. This is optional only. So this is a fun thing we're trying this season. This is actually quite new. We actually started. I think last year we started just doing this on Twitch, but without any audio, to see how it would go, and it was pretty well received. So now we're adding in the audio part, and I think next season for our big baseball expert draft and for the football draft, we'll continue this trend.
Nice. It's fun. How many questions you getting? How active are the people listening in?
Live, it's probably not as much just because it's pretty late at night. It's it's like herding cats trying to get this draft started, but I'm sure we'll get questions in the future. I do have one question here from the same guy who's been watching, Fakery237. He asks, how would you combine tight ends into wide receiver rankings for a league that treats them both the same? The WT is the same. So I'm assuming, do you think that means that there are like only flexes, like wide receiver, tight end flexes in the league?
Yeah, or there's no tight end position, and
Right. So
all tight ends are included as wide receivers.
I feel like it would give more value to the wide receivers just because it's a larger pool to draft from. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even bother with tight ends except for the top 10 maybe or top 5 even.
Yeah, less than that, I wouldn't. I mean, so if Travis Kelce is borderline top 5, I'm not taking him. He's 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. I'd rather have Willie Snead. Um, I would take Olsen. I'd look at Walker, and then definitely Reed, and of course Gronk. But outside of that, I would let all the wide receivers take up all the real estate of that position rather than try to get a tight end. And in terms of getting Gronk, again, like even him going sixth. Sixth is a little high, obviously. Way to get Rivers. Good job, Jay. Homer pick.
Yeah, I wanted to
Take
get
it.
Gates too, but I realized someone took him. That person is not
That's
writing
early
for
for
Razzball
Gates,
again.
man. That's crazy.
Well, the thing is, in all my all RCL Writers Leagues, I've always gotten Rivers and Gates as my homer pick.
Makes sense.
Someone's not in this league next year.
There it is. Yeah, I would say to answer that question though, Gronk's a lot of the value of Gronk is that you're going to have such a leg up on the position in terms of your lineup. And so if you take him at the end of the first round, start of the second, you're getting a big advantage of potentially 4, 5, 6 points per game over what other person at tight end would have. But if I could put in the exact same slot Allen Robinson instead of Gronk, why would I take Gronk? Because he loses the upside of the positional scarcity.
Yeah.
Rivers and Thomas. What do you think about Julius Thomas? How do you think the entire Jags offense is gonna
I don't know.
exist this
T-Hole
year?
and I've been talking. I think we lost T-Hole for a little bit, but T-Hole and I were talking about Jacksonville kind of putting up a fight this season. I've never been a huge Blake Bortles guy, but I feel like last year I was kind of high on Julius Thomas, but he never really made it. He kind of made it out the gate. I think he was injured, if I remember correctly. My memory's kind of bad right now, but
Yep.
I think this is. I mean, honestly, I was just looking for kind of an Antonio Gates clone, so I think Julius Thomas, right? I feel like he can do what Antonio Gates can do, which is just kind of be solid and not kind of be a
basketball mold. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I always make fun of that. Did they play basketball? That thing, and always do.
Yeah.
Analysts, but let's see. We have Ware going. That I've seen him. I've seen Spencer Ware go a little bit earlier. This seems a little late. Do you agree with that? I mean, with the question mark with Charles, I feel like he'd be heavily wanted. Let me check. Does this guy actually own?
Did he handcuff him?
No, it wasn't a handcuff. It was just speculative. So that's maybe he sniped it. I'm pretty sure he obviously sniped it if Charles didn't get him. But.
I wouldn't take him here. There are other running backs on the board I'd rather have. I'd rather have Crowell. I'd rather have potentially Forsett, maybe Yeldon. And a half-point PPR. Bilal Powell's not bad. But for me, Ware is going to be, potentially a starter week 1. But it's not like if Devontae Freeman goes out for Atlanta, boom, you need Tevin Coleman. Charkandrick West was pretty good in certain spots last year, and he's still there. So. Sure, he may get a goal line touch, but it's not necessarily that he's going to step in and he's not going to be the next Jamal Charles. If anybody, that would be Charkandrick West in terms of skill set.
Yeah. And here's a guy like Marcus Wheaton. I've always kind of thought of him as a sleeper. Last year, he didn't really pull through. But with Bryant on the shelf, of course, Antonio Brown will see a lot of the targets, but I kind of like Wheaton here. I do like Sammy Coates too. I kind of like the entire wide receiver core for the Steelers, just because we know Ben's going to throw it a lot. I mean, even though they have a great running attack when Bell returns, I just feel great about that offense in general.
I think that I'm a little hesitant on Wheaton. I feel like he had a shot to prove that he could be a wide receiver too last year when Martavis Bryant was out, and he didn't do anything. He makes me nervous in that sense alone. Of we've seen him get an opportunity and not do anything with it, and hopefully something's changed as he gets another year in the offense. And this is what, 3rd year in the league now out of UNC. So hopefully he can do something with it. I'm just a little skeptical at this point. I took Kamar Aiken a few picks after. I'd rather have him. If you look at his stats from, let me find it. Kamar Aiken's stats for the last 7 weeks is bananas. From week 9 on, or week 8 on. Now, granted, Flacco's not playing and Steve Smith's basically hurt, but the least amount of catches he had in any week was 5. His lowest yards was 50. He scored 3 touchdowns, and in a full point PPR, his lowest points was 12. So you're talking about a guy that has wide receiver 4 in terms of realistic value, wide receiver 5 as a floor, but could even creep up into that top 30. When you're picking in the 100 teens, I'd rather get someone who's got a little bit of a better shot to get there, and I think Aiken does over someone like Wheaton, especially with Coates potentially bringing in all the deep balls.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I I kind of had to cover there because I was actually texting with T-Hole. He should be back soon, so
Yeah, I
I
knew
always
that. That's
feel
why
like
I
I'm
kept talking.
multitasking. Yeah, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm always multitasking when I'm doing stuff like this. So, because I'm checking teams, I'm checking rankings, I'm talking to people. I did notice Stan picked up Theo Riddick. He's a guy I've liked for quite a while, especially in this half PPR format. But I tried to pimp him out last season as kind of a poor man's Reggie Bush, but he never really kind of came to fruition. I still like him this year because I mean, well, it's just him and Amir Abdullah, I suppose. So
Yeah.
I think they don't have any other choice but to use him as kind of the pass catching running back, or I guess change of pace back, to use a cliche term. I still sort of feel like this is. I mean, I guess you can't really call it too early. I mean, we're so late in the draft now. We're in the
What, round 10?
yeah, we're coming in the 11th round. Yeah, 10th round. We're coming into the 11th. I guess it's okay. I mean, are there other guys I'd rather have? I don't know. If I was, I might take a chance on Blunt.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Forsett might be worth. I know he got released today, but he got re-signed right away. It seems to just be a cap thing. I actually thought
Yep.
he was done, and they were going to go with West and Dixon, but
Yeah.
Tavon Coleman, if you're a Freeman owner, would have been. I really can't see too much problems with the Riddick pick at all.
Here's the thing on Riddick. He doesn't
Yeah.
have a high ceiling at all.
Right.
So he's going to get you, he'll average you 7 points per game. So if you have to slide him in, you're going to get this decent floor. But if you're taking your RB4, do you really want 7 points a game, or do you want someone that has the potential of getting you 13 points a game in a 3-game stretch? That's why I would stay away from someone like Riddick that late on my bench. I would rather go, like you said, Forsett has the potential. I mean, 2 years ago when he was healthy, he was crazy. I know he's old, but he didn't basically had 0 carries for the first 6 years in the league. He doesn't have 32-year-old legs like he's been in the league for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Bilal Powell, like you said, LeGarrette Blunt, now that Deion's out, he's going to get the lion's share of carries. Not a bad pick by any means, but strategically, in terms of how you approach your draft and your bench, I'd probably go a different direction.
Yeah, and just to answer Jen's question, I don't know if she's watching. Jack did leave us. I guess she finally noticed. Let's see.
Teal taking a defense.
Yeah, Teal taking a defense. That's his homer pick. It's all right. I mean, I do
And
homer
Christine
picks.
Michael.
Yeah, of course. That's. I do the same thing with my. I think in the Writers League is when I show my true homer colors, just because I'm in a comfortable setting. No one can really talk back to me.
Right.
I feel comfortable about it.
Just drop your editor card and then we all can shut up.
Right. Yeah. The thing is, I actually wanted to do this at one point. I've never had enough guts to do it, but I actually just wanted to draft the entire Chargers team one year at some point, just for my team. Fantasy football. I wanted to do it. I think it was 2 years ago when I should have. When Keenan Allen was almost a second round. I probably would have lost because I think that was last year actually when Allen got injured after 4 or 5 weeks. I forget exactly when, but he went out of the.
Yeah, that was last year. He was so good until he got hurt.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing him this season again. I mean.
So basically, you want to pick a team like in March Madness, how you just decide to.
Just pick the blanket
I'm just
team.
I like the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're a 14 seed. Let's see them go.
Well, it's great too because if you lose, people will just be like, yeah, it's because you drafted the entire Chargers. But if you win,
Right.
people will just feel shitty for losing against a complete team that has
Hold it over their head.
Right. But there's the James White pick too. That was Malamoney who picked him up. I like James White right there.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I don't really know much about the Patriots situation. I don't think the Patriots do either. I mean, I'm sure they know, but Deion Lewis going down, there's a lot of question marks there.
Yep.
I feel like Blunt's going to be doing something, but I feel like White has to be the guy who would probably take over the Lewis role.
Yeah.
Blunt isn't really known as a pass catcher.
Not at all. Gaffney actually started the last game, and there's some some chatter that he could do something.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on Gaffney. I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like Belichick loves these like small white dudes, you know, in the backfield.
He
Actually, I
feels
think
for him.
Boston in general. I think New England area in general
That's
enjoys
right.
those guys. I'll be honest. I probably would have drafted him as a mid-tier running back if his name was like Gaffney. You know, if he was if he was an
That
Irish
was
dude.
more clear. Yeah.
Right?
You
Because
didn't
then I
think he
know
was
for
maybe the
sure.
guy from Florida? You weren't
Right,
sure?
then for sure they'd be starting him. Like if he was on O'Shaughnessy, he'd be on my team right now. You know,
This-
but I still like White, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gaffney becomes fantasy relevant this season. I know it's kind of a bold statement, but
Sure.
like you said, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. And the crazy part is that, these guys who had immense talent in college come out and get in these systems where it should fit. Like James White should be able to step in and do incredible things in that offense based on his skill set, what he did at Wisconsin. He's got speed for days, but it just hasn't fully clicked for whatever reason. And we'll see how many looks he actually gets through week 4 when Brady comes back, and then if only 2 weeks after that Lewis comes back, how much value is White really going to have on a team?
Yeah, and I mean, let's see, what did they say? On Dion Lewis, 7 to 8 weeks. I did get some questions on the site today. I actually own Dion Lewis in the Blog Talker Radio Expert League, ESPN's Pod Vader and such, and I actually haven't dropped him yet because it's a 10-team league. Honestly, there's so much stuff on the free agency. This is why I like 12-team leagues because I
Yep.
feel like there's less strategy in 10 teams. I'm actually up to draft, so I'm gonna have to multitask here. But I wanted to ask you. I don't know what to do with Dion Lewis. I feel like in 10-team leagues, you could just kind of hold him and see what's going on because he's definitely one of Brady's favorite targets. That can't be denied. Like I
Right.
feel like when he returns, he'll have value. But to hold him on I just have nothing to do with that spot. So I don't know. I just can't imagine holding on to him for 2 months. I'm sure there's going to be a need that arises for me to drop him. But
Yeah.
people have asked me if they can hold on to him. I'm like, man, I guess hold on to him until something better comes along.
I think a lot of it depends on your scoring settings and depends on your roster settings. If you have a deep bench, I would rather hold on to Dion Lewis than have Buck Allen, who's a few spots under him in this Yahoo thing. Dion Lewis's ceiling in a half-point PPR, he was number 10 before he went out last year. So let's say it'll be over a year coming back from the knee injury. He's getting 8 weeks of being around the team, still getting healthy. If he comes back after I think their buys in week 9, yeah. So if he comes back in week 10, and you draft this guy who come playoff time is a borderline RB1, RB2, at least a great flex play, then you're getting incredible value in the 12th round. But if you only have 4 or 5 spots on your bench, you can't afford to lock that up without an IR slot or 7 or 8 bench spots. If he's your RB4, you just can't do that.
Yeah, and you know what? Mike Mayer just told me in the chat. It looks like Tyler Gaffney just got put on the IR, so that kind of squashes that dream. I did not know that. So.
Is that how you meant to say it, Mike?
I think he's
I get it.
He took my
I
study
get it.
joke to heart. Yeah. What can I say? I got the jokes. Chris Hogan. I like Chris Hogan. I like him here. Seems like a nice little perspective. And Justin Forsett, I think that's a good pickup. Just going over the recent pickups. Let's see.
If Foster goes down, what you just did with Ajayi is awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was the right spot to take him. I didn't really see much else. At this spot in the draft, I kind of like going for, I wouldn't say high risk, high reward, but I would say I'm comfortable picking up guys who kind of have room to grow, but if they don't turn out, it's just like, whatever. I'll just drop them for something on the waiver,
Yeah, you could make an argument that, all right, so where did James White go? We were talking about this, 119, and you just took Ajayi at 132. I would rather have Ajayi than James White. There's a clearer path to carries for the entire season for Ajayi potentially than there is James White.
Right, not just the mid, they're still committed to him because he's a high round draft pick that,
Yeah.
obviously he didn't take off last season. Some of that had to do with Lamar Miller. Some of that had to do with the offensive game planning. A lot of that had to do with the fact that the Dolphins kind of sucked. But I don't know how they'll do this season, but I think at least I feel like they understand what the issues were last year. I feel like, yeah, I think, I mean, why not? I think that's the basic.
And then you followed up with Sanu as an Atlanta guy. That was a solid pick. I mean, if he even does 75% of typical Roddy White production, you just got a almost wide receiver 3 in the 12th round.
Yeah, I feel really good about that. I understand why he's forgotten, just because he kind of
He did nothing
faded.
last year.
Right,
Yeah.
he faded and yeah, I like him here. I've never been high on Sanu actually. Like the combinations there, like you said, they need a Roddy White replacement, and
Yes, we do. And then right after Tyler Boyd, I mean, he's another wide receiver too in a pass-happy offense. There's a lot of potential there. If you're taking him 80 picks after Sterling Shepard, there is a possibility. There is a universe where Tyler Boyd scores basically the same as Sterling Shepard.
I was just reading if we had any comment section or anything. Let's see, we got it looks like we got another defense going down.
I took Carolina.
Yeah, I feel like taking Cam Newton and then going Carolina defense. You have a soft spot for Carolina. Is it?
I don't, man. Oh, I don't. I freaking hate him. I hate him with all my life. But you can't let your homerisms come into play when. Listen, you're the editor of this thing. You got tenure. This is my first year writing on the football side. I gotta prove my worth. I love the Carolina D though. Matt Ryan.
Technically, I think it's your second year. To be fair.
That's true. I did a little DFS. I did a little teaser at the end of the year. That's when I came in and said, "Hey, y'all are great. Let me write for you." With the Carolina D, they're going to swarm the ball. I mean, even without Josh Norman, so they have a super young and scary in terms of, I guess, what they might be allowing secondary, but they're still going to rush the ball like crazy. I'll take a defense with Luke Kuechly in it any day of the week. So I like that. I have him as a top 4, top 5. And for me, I know that typically you say wait till defense to the last 2, but I would rather lock in the one that I want in 13 or 14 than go and say, well, I'd rather have Steve Smith Sr. I have no idea if he's even going to be alive 8 months from now. He's 49 years old. So I'll take the sure thing of Carolina versus the 2 wild cards of another player, a wide receiver 6 at this point, and a defense lot later on.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of get into semantics, I think you bring up a great point about, me saying not to draft defenses or kickers. When I speak about these strategies, I think it's for the general audience in that it won't work for like 100% of everyone. I think it'll work for 80% of anyone. So obviously, picking up Carolina, it's hard to argue with. It's like an easy, I'd say, 10 to 15 points every week. Not easy, but you're hoping for that range.
Right.
I think with the defense, and that's something that maybe a running back 2 or 3 could give to you. So there are a lot of merits to that. But the thing is, a lot of defenses, once you get outside the top 5, they're just all over the place. Week to week.
They bleed together.
Right, exactly, and especially kickers. Like once you get outside, like out of the Justin Tucker and Gostowski zone, it's just kind of like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna get. So in those terms, I think when I'm speaking to 80% of the players out there, you really should just stream, just because it's a lot easier. You're not wasting a spot. And even for me, I prefer sometimes not even drafting. If I'm doing a draft early, like if I did this draft a month ago, I wouldn't even draft a kicker defense. I draft another speculative like running back or wide receiver because of injury.
Great call.
Yeah, so I think those are the times it warrants it. But we're drafting, like, what is it? The football starts in like 2 days. So
I know, it's so great.
Right, and it's an amazing feeling, and we're gonna have a great year. I know all of us are, just because football's back, so it's great. But yeah, I think in this stage, when things have solidified, it's definitely okay. I don't really want to justify T-Hole taking Seattle, second round. He drafted Seattle. No,
That's
but
right. Yeah.
yeah,
And
but
Carolina or Arizona went right after them.
right. So
I think the more you know, the deeper of your rankings. If you know who you can find late, then you can afford to take a defense in 12 or 13. But if you're playing this like the average Joe, the standard, if you're trying to figure out what to do in terms of fantasy football, you're right. You should wait because again, the gap of points from the number 1 to the number 15 defense is not going to be astronomical, just like kickers. I don't care who it is. I'm not taking a kicker to the last round because the best kicker is going to average 11 and the number 27 kicker is going to average 9. There's not enough of a gap to go out and make a reach of getting it.
let's see. We had Treadwell go.
And
Quarterbacks-
DGB.
Yeah, DGB.
What do you think about the Philly offense with Wentz in there versus the prospect of it being Bradford, of what it was a week ago?
Yeah, about the same. I think I wrote a little bit on this. My feeling is nothing has changed too much. I think if I remember correctly, I moved in my rankings. I moved Ertz up a little. I moved Matthews up a little. Sproles up a little. I just kind of raised up the safety valves, just because I don't think it's just with quarterbacks who aren't that good, but also rookie quarterbacks. They definitely enjoy having safety nets for them. Those safety nets are usually, your outlet passes to the running backs or your short read options to the tight ends. I feel like they benefit from that. Jordan Matthews is a curious case. Like I really want to buy into him. I think I might buy into him a little more if I knew for sure it was Chase Daniels starting for the first because I watched Chase Daniels firsthand with Kansas
You've
City.
seen him.
Right, like I've seen him. I can't say much about tangible evidence. It usually, I mean, anecdotal evidence is probably a better way to describe it. I don't think it's to base all your values on, but whenever I've seen him, he's done pretty well. He's kind of a safe quarterback. I think he's a game manager, to use kind of a stupid cliche term, but I feel like that's what he is. He can throw the deep ball all right. He can run a little bit, but he's never going to have that ceiling that you want. But I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with the offense if they started with him. I haven't read the latest news today. I know they were saying that if Wentz cleared his, I think it was rib, he had a couple rib problems. I forgot exactly off the top of my head, but if that was clear that he would start in week 1.
Yeah, he's starting. They named him.
Okay, so if he's starting, yeah, I mean, Jordan Matthews, I think I might downgrade just a little bit. It's
Sure,
really
he's the
hard for
first
me.
Eagles quarterback, Eagles rookie quarterback to ever start for the Eagles.
I think it's going to be a bad team this year. I mean, that's not to say it's going to be a bad fantasy team. I still think they have a lot of weapons. I really want to buy Jordan Matthews, like I said. And I know I'm kind of rambling about it because in my head I really want to buy into that, but I'm not seeing it quite yet.
Yeah,
it's truly one of those things where I think we might see his projection in the first few games to see how their offense runs. But you were going to say, I'm sorry.
Oh no, Sam Bradford was awful last year, and Jordan Matthews still put up great numbers to end the year.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. I watched him play in college at Vandy they had nothing, and he was arguably the best player. I'm a UGA grad, and he was arguably the best player on the field even when we played him. So he's talented. It's there. As long as, he's got a competent quarterback, he's going to be able to do something. I just worry. There was an article on The Ringer that either came out today or yesterday that talked about the kind of go ahead and ranking the NFL teams before the season starts. And it had the Eagles as the third worst team, which makes
they might
sense.
Be the worst team. Who were the? Do you have the top of your head who the other two teams were?
It had the Browns and it had
always the Browns.
I know, man. And the 49ers.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they were third, and then they had both my Falcons and your Chargers in that bottom 7. Like, man, come on.
I don't think the Chargers are gonna be terrible.
I think y'all are a sneaky playoff pick.
I mean, I picked him to go to the Super Bowl, but that's not based on.
Okay,
any,
okay.
That's not based on any analysis like that. I would call it expert analysis.
If the Chargers move, will you still be a Chargers fan?
Yeah, I think actually a couple years ago, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I actually wrote a post on this because it wasn't fantasy related. It was during the off season, and I wrote about it. It was kind of my argument because I think I'm unique in that I lived in San Diego. I grew up in San Diego, and then I moved there after high school. But then, when I finished up college and stuff, I lived in Seattle for 10 years, and then after that, I lived in LA for like 5 years. So I kind of lived in both Los Angeles and San Diego, and to me, I don't really care if they move to Los Angeles. That looks a little less likely now. I don't think they're gonna move at all at this point. I think it
Sure.
was pretty clear the NFL wanted them to stay put in San Diego.
Right.
It was actually fun to read because it's kind of I guess what the Germans call a level of Schadenfreude, where Dean Spanos apparently had a handshake agreement to kind of vote his way, but instead they went behind his back. So that was good to hear. But getting
Yeah.
back to the point, I would have never minded just because I grew up and kind of I consider myself a Southern California kid at
Yeah.
heart. So if they were in LA, I'd just be like, well, I used to live in LA. I'll still root for him because
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest. In about 20 years, it's with the growth of Anaheim and Orange County, it's just going to be one big mega city. At a certain point, there's literally no space in between the cities, or there's not going to be any space in between them at
Yeah.
that point. So it literally will be one big huge city. So I don't think it would matter
Right.
at that point. But I do like the fact that because it's the team that my father rooted for. He introduced me to this team, so it has a lot of sentiment. That's why I've hung on to him, even though I haven't been back there since high school. And
Nice.
I live in DC now, so I still root
Yeah.
for them. And I mean, it's not like I'm going to root for Washington. I just
Right.
talk about. I mean, people think Dean Spanos is a shit owner. They've never seen Frank Snyder. I mean, they probably
Woo.
have, but he's even worse. Um,
Yeah.
so
Dan Snyder has done something wrong every single year. I'm pretty sure. Like there was. Oh, this is genius. There was I think it was either. Oh no. So Malcolm Gladwell has a podcast series called Revisionist History. For
mhm.
anyone listening or for you, Jay, it's fascinating. I have like a 4 hour commute basically right now until we move. So I've listened to almost the entire thing. And in there, he has an entire episode that talks about, takes moments in history and then kind of turns them on their head to say what they actually talked about for history moving forward. It says, we need to give history a second chance. I just took Deion Lewis, by the way. You're welcome.
Well, it's funny, really quick before you get on your point.
Yeah.
I started. I think you did this strategy wise because I started talking. I waxed and poetic about San Diego, and my team auto drafted the New England defense, so I didn't mean to
Oh
do
no.
that, but I'm okay with it. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, not my intention. You also
Yeah.
took Sammy Coates. It's a good one. But anyways, he talks about how this idea of big ideas should typically, like the greatest ideas oftentimes are not utilized because of this social threshold. So Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in that one game, and he shot free throws underhanded. He was 28 for 32. But normally he was a 45% free throw shooter because he shot overhand, but he thought he was going to look like an idiot. So he compares it to the Redskins and says, Dan Snyder went and paid for this group from New England to do this study to talk about the value of draft picks and how everybody should actually try to gather as many second round draft picks as possible because the amount that you're paying them versus the amount of value and talent they're going to give you
Mhm.
compared to the first round is much more valuable. And then that year after they did it, they turned around and traded everything to get RG3.
Yeah.
Like went the opposite direction of what they should have done. So there you go, Dan Snyder. You're a genius, just with a lot of money.
I mean, he's the type of guy I think where he gets fixated on something. He gets it no matter the cost, and I think people know that. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it was evident with Albert Hainsworth that
Oh
contract,
gosh.
which
Oh, God.
which was the most ridiculous thing I'd seen in a while for the to equate it to baseball. I think it was like what's a good what was that
It was.
contract? It was the Vernon Wells contract in Anaheim, right? It was right. It
Yeah.
was kind of like that. It was just
Yeah.
like it was the trade, I guess. That
You
right,
could do any number. It was Mike Hampton.
right,
It was
right. Yeah, you
Mo
could credit.
Vaughn. It was
Where you just listen to the trade
brutal.
and you're like, are you serious? Like, especially if you're a fan of if you're part of the
Right.
fan base, you're just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So,
He was so good in college. Yeah. Well, this is 5 years after. So
yeah.
congratulations. You're paying someone who doesn't want to play football $108 million to play football.
And I love Albert Hainsworth too because he kind of serves as a cautionary tale whenever people talk about how the Patriots and Belichick can turn any troubled player around. That's the one guy I usually point to that says they can't change everyone.
True statement.
Let's see. We are, as people can tell, we're in the late stage of the draft. There isn't much going on. I would like to take this time, Matt. You've hung out with me so much. What's your Twitter, man? We want to get that out.
Yeah, I snuck in there really early because I'm, I guess, the leading edge of the millennials, and we do this. But it's Matt Hayes. It's my name,
Perfect.
Matthayyes, and I'm not the guy that writes for Sporting News. A lot
Maybe you
younger, a lot
secretly are,
cooler.
though. This is kind
Better,
of
I
like
promise I'm not. But I get mentions on Twitter all the time about what I said about the Jaguars. Like, well, don't write for them. I write for a much better site called Razzball.
I appreciate that. Not even I talk about Razzball like that, so that's good. Fun little fact: Roto Lance just said his aunt taught Wentz science in elementary school. Small world, I guess.
Interesting.
But yeah, you are actually. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing this season. You are going to be taking over the waiver wire series. It is actually. I think I sold this to you like this. It was pretty much our number one post, which it is. I mean,
Yeah.
sans my stuff because I'm just so not to say that, but
That's right. Because you write half of the football
right.
thing.
No, but it is the great stuff because honestly, I think a lot of people ask me like why I don't do the buy sell stuff, and it's just because number one, people can read my thoughts when I do the game recaps. They can ask me questions there and everything, but I also like a contrarian view. Obviously, our banter here kind of shows what I'm looking for in that series because it is the one series that people go to look for answers to their team, and I think it's the most important series just because once you're done with the draft there's nothing left to do except waiver wire and kind of watch your team grow. So I'm very excited to have you on board.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you've done a great job on the baseball site, so
thanks, man. I'm stoked to write for it. I've tried my hand at starting my own fantasy site 2 years ago and decided I'm going to write for this every single day for an entire year to see if A, I even like this, and then B, how I could monetize this and make it work.
Right.
And I love doing it, but the monetize thing wouldn't happen. I was like, well, Razzball's my favorite site to read, so let's see if they need any writers. And
I mean, that's what you should do, though. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you to leave us, but what you should do is I know a lot of people who, and I invite people to do this, is they try to do their own thing on the side and use Razzball as kind of a jumping off point. I definitely am for that. Just because I think if you're a good writer, you just need a bigger audience, and Razzball can offer that, and then you can grow your own brand. Which, like I said, I'm always for that. So this is kind of a private conversation, but I'm glad.
No, you're good.
So.
But I'm excited to take over the waiver thing. I'm actually finishing up the primer tonight to talk about what the article will be. And for so long, I always talked about how fantasy football I've played since I was 11. So this is my 19th year. I'm 30. And I always said fantasy football is so much luck because not Andrew, because the draft is so crucial to the season, whereas baseball or basketball or anything else, you can manage your way into the playoffs or into the standings. But if you lose your first round pick, or like last year, if you drafted Jordy at the back end of the first round, like, you're done.
Yeah.
And I've always said it's so much luck, but then seasons like last year happen, and it's really not luck. There's a lot of grind to it. Like, how much can you hustle? Because guys like Tim Hightower and David Johnson, Andy Dalton, none of them were drafted, and yet they were prevalent on a large majority of championship teams. And so scouring the waiver wire and knowing who to pick up and when to pick them up is a massive deal if you want to really be competitive.
All right, so moving along real quick, I just want to quickly go through each team and kind of get a grade from you to see how they did so far. I think we're far enough in the draft to kind of get where we are. Okay, we'll start off with Alex Lee. He went Drew Brees, Keenan Allen, Jordan Matthews, Sterling Shepard, Lamar Miller, Doug Martin, Zach Ertz, Carlos Hyde. I think that's a pretty strong team. I'll let you kind of give me a grade for that one.
Sure. Oh man, am I grading on a curve? This is scary. I don't know. I would say, yeah. All right. So first answer, B minus. I like Allen, maybe C plus. Sorry, Alex. Really like Keenan. as a wide receiver 1.5 point PPR format. Lamar Miller is gold. I think where he got Doug Martin, in my opinion, was a steal. I think there's some big question marks with Ertz. Carlos Hyde should be great in Chip Kelly's offense, but man, we don't know what in the world he's going to do. Breeze is steady. Obviously, Breeze is going to breeze. But I think there's some question marks through the lineup where the bench might not have enough firepower to really pull through if some of those guys in the starting lineup falter a little bit. B minus, C plus.
Yeah, I agree with the bench. I do like the Spencer Ware pick. I feel like just from he was kind of mocking whoever owned Miles Charles. He might want to spin that as a trade, maybe try to get something to solidify. But yeah, I'm a little worried on the depth. All right, do you have the teams in front of you? That way I don't have to.
I'm looking at them.
All right, so we're moving to Dylan Panthers. That's Malamoney's team. Let's see, we got again the Kevin Benjamin. We touched on that. I don't like his wide receivers too much. The Fitzgerald pick kind of worries me. I like him, but I don't like him too much. I do like his running backs. We got the Charles owner right here, so I do like Woodhead. I do like the Sharp on the bench. White was good. Derek Carr in for Brady. I give this another C plus B minus. I don't know. This is kind of hard to grade on Curve too because I don't know the other teams to compare it to. But
right, I'd go a half step above Alex's. Obviously, picking in the top 3 where you can take Julio is nice, but I mean when Brady comes back, he was better than Cam last year in a points per game average. So I think there's great potential here because I think there's also a high upside with McCoy and Charles. Could both be RB1s. Julio
could also be injured for the rest of the year.
But that's the problem is that, the floor on this team is quite low because you might not have Danny Woodhead may be your RB1.
And you're up to draft, so I don't want you to miss your pick. So
I got it. It all blurred red, so I can get that real fast. I think I knew. Well, I thought I knew what I was doing, and then I look back and it's not.
I'm going to move to Jen's team, Forte Inch Didka.
Yep. All right, I'm back.
All right, so she's got Bryant. I like the wide receivers. Running backs are a little make me nervous just because I like C.J. Anderson this year, but it still makes me a little nervous. Gronk probably will hold it together. This seems pretty good. I'm comfortable giving a B to this, an even B, because she's got some star power here to hold the team together.
I would go right in between Dylan and Alex. So I guess this would be a B minus for me. If Alex is a C plus, we'll give Malamoney a B. We'll give her a B minus. I think this is the exact reason why it is so risky to draft Rob Gronkowski in the first.
Yeah.
Because you have, C.J. Anderson was a borderline first round, if not a first round. I think Tristan had him as his number 1 overall last year. Over at ESPN. So you've got 2 guys that disappointed massively at running back last year that you're counting on to start. And then Isaiah Crowell is your number 3 behind him. Then Des Bryant could be injured and has a rookie thrown to him. Doug Baldwin was an anomaly going off last year. That ain't going to happen again. And Deshaun Jackson is as hit or miss as possible. There's some scary question marks to me with this team, but on paper to start the year could be pretty strong. Love you, Jen. Haven't met you, but don't cuss me out. Thanks. Bye.
She's not always salty. I think she chooses her moments. All right, and I apologize for those who are watching this or who are going to watch this. I had to switch the screen to draft. A couple of people really going to draft those guys and go back.
Love the Perriman pick.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the Deion Lewis of wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop one of them for a kicker though. I didn't draft a kicker, but I'll figure that out later. I guess my team is up next. I give it an A plus. No, I'm not gonna do that. I feel like I'm weak at running back just because I'm putting all my trust into Peterson. I was hesitant picking him. Rawls, we kind of talked about a little bit. I do like my wide receivers. Actually now that I look at them, I like my wide receivers a lot. Ryan Matthews is a risk, but I feel like I have enough depth here to kind of play around with the flex. I'm okay with this team. I give it a B. I'll give myself a B. I don't want to get too high a horse, here and be too biased. So I'll let you actually critique my team. How about that? That's probably
all right. Let's make. I was an English major, so let's make this paper bleed. I would prefer your team to the 4 so far.
Right.
Because
and I just want to state that I'm not forcing him to say this.
That's right. That's right. He's gonna fire me if not, and I'm never gonna write again. But to me, the big hinge of this team is what does Thomas Rawls do? You said you're hinging your running backs on AP. I think that's an awesome thing to do. You got AP at number 12. That typically doesn't happen in other sites. So the fact you got him that late is awesome. I love Rawls as a number 2 because he has a number 1 upside, but he's got to come through, and Ryan Matthews can't get hurt. People are taking Big Ben 7 quarterbacks before Rivers, but they're the exact same, and Rivers probably has even more potential just because Big Ben, if you take away his 2 6-touchdown games, he's average from last year.
Their durability, I'd say, is pretty identical too. Like
right.
I'd say, as people, they're complete opposites, but as quarterbacks,
that's
they're
right.
almost identical twins.
As gentlemen and a father of 19 children like Philip Rivers is, he's probably a little better of a man.
I think it's up to 27, as you just said that. So
that's right. That's right. They actually just had another. But to me, I think the big thing for you is going to be you have, in my opinion, a solid depth of at least your top 5 wide receivers, and then your number 6 is Sanu. I would turn one of your wide receivers into another running back because you're counting on Matthews or Ajayi to step in if something happens to AP or Rawls, and that's the question mark for me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's move to Roto Lance's team. He's got the star power of AJ Green. I mentioned I like Foster, but I actually feel uncomfortable with his running backs situation right now. I like his wide receivers. I'm good with Watkins, Moncrief, Floyd. They're kind of there's a lot of variation there. I don't know how else to describe it. There's some risk there. I'm
trying to figure out where he picked everybody. Like, to me, I'm looking at AJ, borderline first rounder. You could easily in this format take him in the first. Sammy, probably a second rounder. But after that, I don't. To me, sorry, Lance, and it's because you stole D'Angelo from me, I guess. But the next best is probably. Oh, I can't look at. Get out of here,
I hate
Yahoo.
These commercials.
I don't want to see your face.
Okay, I got mine.
Funston. So I think after Watkins and AJ, his next best is a 5th rounder. I know Moncrief went in the 3rd, but he's a 5th rounder, and then Floyd's probably right there with him. So I would probably be lowest on this team of all of them. Arian and D'Angelo are your top 2 running backs, and then you're going to put Yeldon at the 2 after Le'Veon comes back. Well, Chris Ivory may start. C-.
All right, I would say something though. If Arian Foster, let's say he has like an old school Arian Foster type of year, I think Foster would be the one to carry him to the playoffs. If everyone did kind of their usual stuff. So
yeah, but he hadn't done that. I mean, he's like Josh Gordon. He hasn't really done that since.
It's hard to it's hard
middle
to kind of
2014, right?
All right, now we get to your team. Obviously the Cam Newton pick. I like DT still. He's kind of the unsung hero of the draft this year. Not many people really are hyped about him, but he's still DT. So I know the Denver quarterback situation is kind of precarious, but talent usually wins over that a bit. I love Travis Benjamin there. I think he's kind of a sneaky good pick. Your running backs are set up. Of course, you have to wait 3 weeks until you get Bell back. I would give this, I don't know, I think I'm going to give every team a solid B just because I feel like all you guys are my peeps, so I really can't talk smack about it. But, I mean, look at yourself. You had no trouble looking at my team and looking at other teams.
Sure.
What are you worried about with this team? What's your grade on your team here?
The wide receivers are the problem. To me, the fact that I got Gurley and Le'Veon 1-2 is that, to me, that catapults the team to the highest, but it's also my own. I have been targeting Derrick Henry late in every draft possible because I think second half of the year, he really could catapult into almost what, I'm not saying he's going to do what Gurley did, but he is the only one that has the potential of doing what Gurley did, not named Ezekiel Elliott. Of all the rookies. So I love that, but the wide receivers are, I would rather have John Brown as a 3 than a 2, and I'd rather have Travis Benjamin as a 4 than a 3. That's scary to me.
I do like Travis Kelce. I think he's kind of a sneaky pick too, along with Maurice Thomas, a guy who kind of gets forgotten.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, let's see. And Mike Honcho, he obviously has a high-tier quarterback like yourself. He has Andrew Luck. Allen Robinson always. I'm pretty sure that was his first rounder there, if I remember correctly. I really love Jarvis Landry, so much more than Parker. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably everyone probably feels the same way. I like Kevin White as a sneaky pick. Ingram, little risk. We talked about Murray. How you feeling about this team?
This is my new favorite. I like in a half-point PPR a squad like this a lot. Everybody starting for him is going to have so Latavius Murray is going to have the least amount of catches. His tight end is awful. I grew up around Jared Cook and his older
Yeah.
brother Jason. He is a monster. He hasn't seen it since he was 14, but he's not a fantasy producer. So the tight end is weak. However, Landry's going to have over 100 catches again. Allen Robinson's probably going to get near 85, and so even those projections are low. I'm really high if Kevin White comes around because I think that is the linchpin of this squad. He has Kevin White as his number 3, and his number 4 is Wheaton. I don't know that there's a good alternate wide receiver 3 on this squad. So if Kevin White doesn't come out doing what he should have as a top 10 NFL pick, that's the scary part here.
Yeah, there's just some teams that when you look at instantly, you feel clean about. I don't know if the right word is clean, but it like something snaps in your head. You're like, this looks good, And I feel this way on your team. I agree with you. His tight end is weak, but when your tight end is weak, I mean that's not a big deal. So
right, especially this year.
Yeah, I do like this team. We have Zach's team. He kind of had to auto draft, but he did set up a list. He did tell me that. So
Good.
This is probably the team he wanted. Past I forgot when he left us. I think it was after the 10th round or 9th round, but.
Yeah.
I like Cooks. I like Hilton. I like Macklin. I love his wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, his running backs look strong too. This team really.
This is a solid squad.
Yeah, I like this team a lot actually. The only weak spot is his flex with Jennings, but I think
I agree.
Parker is okay. Dwayne Allen. He kind of handcuffed himself with the tight ends.
If he can figure that out.
Yeah. And he got 2 defenses, which I'm sure he didn't want. That was probably a byproduct of his auto draft.
Right.
But yeah, if you can find a way to play around, what grade are you giving it here?
I'd give him a B plus. I think I don't know that Palmer can do it for like. I'm a big Bill Simmons fan. I don't care. I'll drop it. But like he said, are we sure that Carson Palmer can do that again?
I'm not sure, but
yeah. Can he really be healthy 3 straight years? But if you look at, I mean, Jeremy Macklin finished number 15 last year in this scoring, so he's got borderline three guys that could all finish as wide receiver 1s, if not wide receiver 2s. David Johnson arguably is the number 1 PPR running back. If DeMarco Murray does anything like he can, it's a solid squad. I don't like Rashad Jennings. I know he played well down the stretch, but I think that Paul Perkins could eat into that, and I think with Sterling Shepard outside, they're going to throw even more this year. But it's a great squad. If he can find a better RB4 in case Murray gets hurt and Jennings will get hurt, that's his thing. Because right now it's only Tim Hightower. The depth there is what scares me. But great squad.
And I feel like his flex problems may have been an issue of his auto draft too. I'm not sure how he set up his list, but I'm fairly certain he doesn't want his flex to be like that. But everything else is very solid.
Also, he has the Raiders defense. Very sneaky defense to get this year.
Yeah, I think the Raiders in general are pretty sneaky. I know a lot of people in our staff picks today picked them to be the sleeper team. I couldn't personally do it as a Charger fan, but I've been if people have listened to me on the side or read me on the side, they know I have a secret fascination with the Raiders. I think they're on the cusp of being a really great team, and I think the fan base, the non-violent ones certainly deserve it.
Right.
Okay, so Stan's son. Let's see. Marshall, Cobb, Tate, pretty solid wide receivers. He won the Ezekiel Elliott Award. I don't like Frank Gore here. Virgil Green is okay-ish. His flex is okay-ish. It kind of drops off. Like his first 5 players I see are great, but
that bench is scary.
Yeah, the bench. I like the bench. DeAndre Washington is kind of speculative. I like Snead a little bit still.
Yeah.
We were talking about Riddick a lot. We were talking about Hogan.
Yeah, I love the wide receivers. I think the big thing for him is going to be the running back. Frank Gore can be an RB2, but I'd rather not rely on him for that. I'd rather have him at a flex type slot. And I guess if he had to, he could put Riddick in there, but DeAndre Washington's no guarantee to get the carries quite yet. He's impressive, and I like him in like dynasty drafts, rookie drafts. But yeah, that's the only real slot there. I love Russell and what he could do this year, and now he's married and he's getting it, and so he's going to play better. Um, Marshall, I think, can reach 100 catches again. And I, for this team, love Randall Cobb in a bounce back. I think he's going to have a big year again.
I agree with you. I think wide receiver 2, not from a fantasy perspective, but from a real football perspective, is where he belongs. Jordy Nelson is,
Yes.
the tide that lifts all boats. So I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Teal's team, the Seattle Seahawks, basically. No. Okay, so his wide receivers are stacked. That is an amazing core of wide receivers. Obviously,
Yeah, it is.
Josh Gordon will not be back until 4 weeks later, so he'll probably be using Torrey Smith, which is okay.
Yep.
I've spent my entire Razzball career not liking Torrey Smith, but this is the year that I've actually advocated for him a little bit, just because he is literally the only option the 49ers have to throw to. Whoever's throwing, I'm assuming it's Blaine Gabbert, which is just a funny situation.
Week 1, yes, it's going to be him somehow.
His running backs, a lot of risk. I mean, not a lot of risk, but Gordon, I think, is risky. I like Langford a lot. I've been kind of advocating for him too. Jordan Reed is your prototypical top 5 tight end. Actually, top 2, I guess. He's the guy behind Gronk, most likely.
Yeah.
Matt Jones, it's okay. I like this team.
The running backs could absolutely fall off. That's the scary part, because there's not a single one on there that has you look at them and you say, he's got a shot at being an RB1. Melvin Gordon, maybe. Jeremy Langford, maybe. But both of them could not even be starting halfway through the year. So outside of that, though, I mean, when you get Antonio Brown and you followed up with Alshon Jeffrey, you got a wonderful start in a format like this.
All right, so let's see. We go to Matthew's team. I'm pretty sure this is Matt Bowe. Too many Matts.
I know.
All right, so we got Hopkins, Cooper, Hearns. I like Hopkins and Cooper.
Yep.
Both guys.
Love it.
Yeah. Lacey, a little bit of risk there. Stewart, a little bit. Yeah, his running backs are a little bit old and busted, I feel like. And this is the guy who took Antonio Gates. All right, this is a guy who's going to be seeking some new work.
Yeah, we're going to be targeting this dude. Only one Matt can survive, sir.
Yeah. He does get the security blanket of having Gates, so I can't really talk smack about Gates. Michael Thomas, we talked a little about him. I like Sims as well. His bench is pretty strong. He does have Graham, so maybe that's his way of telling me that I could maybe trade for Gates. So I kind of like the idea of that. So
is Jimmy Graham even going to play this year? Is he not going to Victor Cruz last year?
I keep on asking T-Hole because he's local and he loves that team, and he keeps saying, I don't know. I thought he was going to be back week 1. Now it's week 3. I don't know.
That injury is the hardest to come back from.
They need him, and I feel like as a late round pick, it's definitely fine. I mean, but
love the squad. Jameis is going to have to take a step up, but I guess Fitzpatrick, I don't think he's going to do what he did last year. So the quarterback has a potential of being a weak spot. But Nuck and Cooper is wonderful. I love Lacey and a bounce back. I think I just love the entire Packers offense and a bounce back. Stewart was a sneaky top 10 option in this format last year. I don't think he does it again this year, but some old running backs need a little youth there, but otherwise, again, solid when you have Hopkins and Cooper carrying you.
All right, and the last team before we end the night is Mike Mayer. I should apologize too because I kept on thinking in my head it was Mike Mahar, so I wrote it out like that phonetically, and he corrected me. Sorry about that, Mike. It is Mike Mayer. I don't know how much sorry we should feel about it though, because he taught me how to pronounce his last name by telling me about Mayer the singer. So I was just like,
hey. And he has a Bitmoji as
right. So he is the OBJ owner, Jordy Nelson, Edelman. Man, his wide receivers are scary.
I know. God, so good.
And he got Freeman. That's pretty good. Though I did pick him to be my bust of the year. Just a feeling, not an educated.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah, I just I have no idea how he came out of nowhere last season. I always used to make fun of him the year before.
Yeah.
Because of how shitty it was, but I think he can do it again. I just he was my bust pick, so whatever. I don't think it's gonna happen. But Chris Ivory, I'm sort of iffy on him every single year, but he always seems to be average, so I guess that's fine. Barnage is a nice sleeper pick. I don't know. There's besides his wide receivers, there's not much punch here. I think it all went to Aaron Rodgers. So he obviously had the high QB, or he had the elite QB along with his wide receivers. But then I feel like there's not much else after Freeman. But what does he need else? I guess there's not. I mean, his flex, Emmanuel Sanders is fine, I guess. So
yeah, I would say that when you have a wide receiver core that's OBJ, Jordy, and Edelman, you can wait a long time on a wide receiver 4.
I don't even know how he drafted that. That must have been his 1, 2, 3, and then Aaron Rodgers must have been his 4.
No, because Freeman would have snuck in. So Julian Edelman would have been
man.
4. Rodgers would have been 5.
This is why I hate it being on the turn. I miss out on all this
I know.
good stuff. My goodness.
OBJ, Jordy, Freeman. I don't know how, but I actually, this might be my top team. I know that you aren't high on the running backs, but I don't think Freeman does what he did last year in those first 8 weeks. But I do think in this format, he's going to catch enough passes. Like Yahoo has him projected for 71 receptions. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But he's going to catch a lot, and they're going to throw it a lot.
I can tell you a lot of stuff that Yahoo says won't happen.
Oh, God bless. I know. I have a personal disdain for everything Yahoo, but
Yeah.
but I really like the squad. Love his starting unit.
Yeah, so I'm going to go and say, I think based on what we said, Mayor's team is going to be up there. I think we like Zach's team.
And ours.
Yeah, and our teams. T-Hole is pretty solid. I mean, personally, I think everyone was solid. So anyhow, we'll end it there. Thank you for joining me. I know it was a couple hours of your time tonight, so I appreciate it. And thank you for all the viewers out there. Yeah, I know based on what I saw from the website, we got a couple hundred viewers tonight, which is excellent. Thank you for joining us. They kind of faded away towards the end, but that's okay. It was getting kind of late. And for everyone who's watching on YouTube, please visit us on football.razzball.com if you didn't come from there, which I actually have no idea how you find this video otherwise. But thank you for watching, and thank you, Matt, for joining us, and thank you for T-Hole and Zach. And who else did we have on earlier?
And Jen for being salty.
Yeah, and Jen for being salty, definitely. Take care, everyone. Thanks.